0. That is how many successful electric car companies existed in 2003. 0. The auto industry had not fundamentally changed in 100 years. You had the same basic business model since Henry Ford perfected the assembly line. Internal combustion engines, dealer networks, planned obsolescence, annual model refreshes, the same playbook recycled for a century, and every single person who tried to disrupt it failed. The big automakers had tried electric cars and killed them. GM literally built the EV1 in the late 90s. Customers loved it, and then GM recalled every single one and crushed them in a junkyard. Crushed them. Not sold them, not donated them, not stored them. Crushed them into cubes of metal. And when someone asked GM's president years later about it, he admitted canceling the EV1 was a mistake. But in 2003, the message from the industry was crystal clear. Electric cars are a dead end. Do not bother. And then two guys in Silicon Valley looked at that message and said, actually, we disagree. And they started a company that would become the most valuable automaker in the history of the world. This is the story of Tesla. And honestly, after spending an unreasonable amount of time researching this, reading the biographies, the SEC filings, the earnings calls, the engineering deep dives, I can tell you that this is not just a car company story. This is the greatest disruption case study of the 21st century. Let me take you through the whole thing. Okay, so let us start at the very beginning. July 1st, 2003. Two engineers, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, incorporate Tesla Motors in San Carlos, California. They name it after Nikola Tesla, the inventor and electrical engineer. And I want to tell you about these two founders because they deserve more credit than they usually get. Eberhard and Tarpenning had previously co-founded Nuvo Media, which made the Rocket ebook, one of the first e-readers. They sold that company and started looking at what to do next. And Eberhard has this observation that changes everything. He is living in Palo Alto, and he notices that wealthy residents have a Prius parked in their driveway right next to a Porsche or a BMW. These are people who care about the environment enough to drive a Prius, but who also love performance cars. And Eberhard realizes there is no product that serves both of those desires simultaneously. No car that is both high performance and zero emission. That gap in the market, that is where Tesla is born. Eberhard says he wants to build a car manufacturer that is also a technology company, with the core technologies being the battery, the computer software, and the proprietary motor. Now here is where Elon Musk enters the picture. In February 2004, Musk leads the Series A funding round, contributing $6.5 million of the total $7.5 million raised. He becomes chairman of the board. And I need you to understand something about Musk at this point in time. He has just sold PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion. His personal take is about $175 million after taxes. He has already started SpaceX in 2002, pouring about $100 million into that. And now he is putting millions more into an electric car company. His friends think he is insane. His financial advisors think he is insane. Everyone thinks he is insane. Because in 2004, the conventional wisdom is that electric cars are golf carts with delusions of grandeur. And Musk is betting a significant chunk of his fortune on proving everyone wrong. His friends literally stage an intervention. They show him a montage of rocket explosions and car company bankruptcies. Musk later says, "They were probably right. The probability of success was so low that basically I agree with them." But he invests anyway, because for Musk, this is not about probability. It is about necessity. He genuinely believes the world needs to transition to sustainable energy, and he does not see anyone else doing it fast enough. And this is where I want to introduce what I am calling the First Principles Disruption Playbook. Because after spending an honestly obsessive amount of time studying Tesla's journey from a startup in San Carlos to the most valuable automaker on Earth, I have identified a 5-step pattern, and I think it is the most powerful framework I have ever seen for understanding how to disrupt an industry that everyone says is impossible to disrupt. Step 1 of the First Principles Disruption Playbook. Start at the top and work your way down. And this is where the genius of Tesla's strategy becomes clear. Because on August 2, 2006, Elon Musk publishes a blog post that lays out the entire plan. He calls it the Secret Tesla Motors Master Plan, just between you and me. And the strategy is elegant in its simplicity. Step 1. Build a high-end sports car. Step 2. Use that money to build a more affordable car. Step 3. Use that money to build an even more affordable car. Step 4. While doing the above, also provide zero-emission electric power generation options. That is it. 4 steps. Written in a blog post in 2006 when the company had not delivered a single car. And here is what makes this so brilliant. Every other electric car company was trying to start with a cheap car. They were trying to compete with the Toyota Camry. And they kept failing because the battery technology was too expensive to make a cheap car. That was also good. The batteries alone would cost more than the entire price of a competing gas car. So Musk flips the script. Start with a car where the buyer does not care about price. A sports car buyer paying $100,000 does not care if the battery costs $30,000. They care about performance, about exclusivity, about being first. Use those early sales to fund the R&D that brings battery costs down. Then use that improved technology to build a cheaper car, then an even cheaper one. It is a cascading strategy. Each step funds the next. Each product generation subsidizes the technology development for the one after it. And it works. It actually works. The Tesla Roadster. The first product, deliveries begin in February 2008. It is based on the Lotus Elise chassis, though only about 6% of the parts are actually interchangeable between the two cars. It has a 248 horsepower electric motor, does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, and has an EPA-rated range of 244 miles. The price starts at $98,000 and eventually rises to $109,000. And here is what matters about the Roadster. It is not a dorky eco car. It is a legitimate sports car. It looks cool, it goes fast, it makes people's heads turn. And it proves, for the first time, that electric cars do not have to be boring, slow, or ugly. A total of 2,450 Roadsters are sold between 2008 and 2012. That is a tiny number by auto industry standards. But it is not about the numbers. It is about the proof of concept. The Roadster proves that there is a market for premium electric vehicles, and it puts Tesla on the map. But then comes the near-death experience, and this is where the Tesla story gets really intense. Because in 2008, everything almost ends. The global financial crisis hits. Credit markets freeze. The auto industry is collapsing. GM and Chrysler will end up needing government bailouts. And Tesla, a tiny startup that has barely started delivering its first car, is hemorrhaging cash. By December 2008, Tesla has about $9 million in the bank. That is it. $9 million for a car company. That is not even enough to cover a few weeks of payroll. And Musk is in personal crisis too. He is going through a brutal divorce. SpaceX has just had 3 rocket failures in a row and is also nearly bankrupt. He has poured virtually his entire PayPal fortune into Tesla and SpaceX. He is so cash poor that he is literally borrowing money from friends to pay his rent. His actual words about this period: "I never thought I'd have a nervous breakdown, but I came pretty darn close." And then comes Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2008. Musk orchestrates a $40 million emergency funding round. The wire transfer comes through at 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, the last hour of the last possible day. Tesla was 3 days away from bankruptcy. 3 days. Musk describes Christmas Eve 2008 as the worst year of my life. He is simultaneously going through a divorce, SpaceX has just barely survived its 4th launch attempt, and now Tesla is days from dying. He is so stressed he is having nightmares, waking up screaming. His net worth has gone from around $180 million to essentially zero on paper, because every dollar is tied up in companies that are about to collapse. 3 days. If that wire had not come through, there is no Tesla. No Model S, no Model 3, no Supercharger network, no Cybertruck, no trillion-dollar market cap. Nothing. The entire future of electric vehicles as we know it was saved by a wire transfer on Christmas Eve. And I want you to sit with that for a second, because the margin between one of the greatest companies in history and total oblivion was 72 hours. That is how close it came. But survival is just the beginning. In May 2009, Daimler invests $50 million for roughly 10% of Tesla. This is huge. It is not just the money, it is the validation. Daimler, the company that invented the automobile, is investing in Tesla. That is like the Pope endorsing a new religion. And then in 2010, the U.S. Department of Energy approves a $465 million loan for Tesla. This loan funds the Model S program, allows Tesla to acquire the NUMMI factory in Fremont, California, the old GM-Toyota joint venture plant, and enables Tesla to scale operations. Tesla will repay this loan in full by May 2013, 9 years ahead of schedule, and on June 29, 2010, Tesla goes public. IPO price, $17 per share. The company raises $226 million. It is the first American automaker IPO since Ford went public in 1956. 54 years. Step 2 of the First Principles Disruption Playbook. make the establishment product look obsolete. And this is where the Model S enters the picture. And honestly, the Model S might be the single most important car built in the last 50 years. Not because of any one specification, but because of what it proved. It proved that an electric car could be better than a gas car. Not just different, not just greener, better, in every way that matters. The Model S begins deliveries on June 22, 2012. The specifications are jaw-dropping for the time. 3 battery options, 40 kWh, 60 kWh, and 85 kWh. The top-end 85 kWh version has a range of 265 miles, a 362 horsepower motor, and does 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. The performance version does it in 4.4 seconds. Base price is $57,400 for the 40K100 version, $77,400 for the 85K100 version, $87,400 for the performance version. And the car is beautiful. Franz von Holzhausen, Tesla's chief designer since 2008, creates something that does not look like an electric car. It looks like a luxury sedan. A really good luxury sedan. Clean lines, minimalist interior, and that massive 17-inch touchscreen that replaces almost every physical button. Nobody had ever put a screen that big in a car before, and the reviews are extraordinary. Motor Trend names the Model S their 2012 Car of the Year. It is the first time the award has ever gone to an electric vehicle, and it is a unanimous decision. The cars that place second and third do not receive more than 3 votes. Motor Trend editor-at-large Angus Mackenzie writes that the Tesla Model S is simply a damned good car you happen to plug in to refuel. They measure the Model S as one of the most efficient cars they have ever tested, averaging 74.5 miles per gallon equivalent, and they describe the driving experience as smoothly effortless as a Rolls-Royce. But wait, it gets better. Consumer Reports gives the Model S a score of 99 out of 100. That ties with the 2007 Lexus LS460L as the highest score in Consumer Reports history. And then, in 2015, the updated Model S P85D literally breaks their rating system. It initially scores 103 out of 100. Consumer Reports has to modify their scoring methodology because the Tesla exceeded the theoretical maximum of their test. They have to change the test to make the Tesla fit into a 100-point scale. I mean, think about that. The car is so good that it breaks the rating system designed to evaluate cars. That is not incremental improvement. That is a different category entirely. And here is what the traditional automakers are doing while all of this is happening. They are watching and dismissing, and not taking it seriously. Former GM Vice Chairman Bob Lutz initially dismisses Tesla, then later admits he was wrong. Toyota, despite investing in Tesla early on, eventually sells its stake and publicly questions the viability of battery electric vehicles, pushing hydrogen fuel cells instead. Ford's CEO at the time says Ford is not worried about Tesla because they sell a niche product. The established automakers are looking at Tesla's production numbers, which are in the low tens of thousands, and concluding that it is not a real threat. They are making the exact same mistake that Nokia and BlackBerry made with the iPhone. They are evaluating a revolution using the metrics of the old world, and by the time they realize what is happening, Tesla has a 5 to 10 year head start. Now, speaking of building things differently, if you are a founder right now trying to create marketing content that actually converts, I want to tell you about iAdsy. It is an AI tool that generates viral UGC and product ad videos. You can give it a reference video for inspiration, and it creates content designed to get 3x better conversions than traditional ads. If you are spending money on ads and not getting the ROI you want, seriously check out aadsy.com. I have seen founders completely transform their ad performance with this tool. Okay, back to Tesla. Step 3 of the First Principles Disruption Playbook. Build the infrastructure before they know they need it. And this is where Tesla does something that separates it from every other electric vehicle company before or since. They build the Supercharger network. Tesla opens its first Supercharger stations in 2012, 6 stations in California. And the thesis is simple, but profound. The biggest barrier to electric vehicle adoption is not range. It is range anxiety. People are not worried about whether the car can go 250 miles. They are worried about what happens when they need to go 251. Where do they charge? How long does it take? Can they do a road trip? Tesla solves this by building a proprietary fast charging network along major highways and in cities. And they do something that no other automaker is willing to do. They pay for it themselves, they design the chargers, build them, install them, maintain them, and initially offer free charging to Tesla owners. Every other automaker says, someone else should build the charging infrastructure. The government should do it. Third-party companies should do it. It is not our job. We make cars. And Tesla says, if we wait for someone else to build it, it will never get built right. So we will do it ourselves. And the results speak for themselves. As of November 2005, Tesla operates approximately 7,900 Supercharger stations with over 75,000 connectors worldwide. About 2,500 stations with nearly 30,000 stalls in the United States alone. The network has an uptime of over 99%. Compare that to third-party charging networks where studies show 20 to 30% of chargers are out of service at any given time. Tesla's Supercharger network is so good, so reliable, so far ahead of everything else, that in 2023, the entire industry capitulates. Ford is first, in May 2023, announcing they will adopt Tesla's North American charging standard connector, then GM, then Rivian, then Hyundai, then BMW, then Mercedes, then Toyota, then Honda, then Stellantis, then Nissan, then Volkswagen. Every single major automaker abandons the CCS connector they had collectively agreed upon and switches to Tesla's connector. Let me say that again. The entire auto industry adopts Tesla's proprietary charging standard. Tesla does not just win the charging infrastructure war, they set the standard for the industry. That is an extraordinary competitive moat. It is like if Apple convinced every other phone maker to switch to the Lightning connector, except it actually happened. And here is the part that makes this even more brilliant as a business strategy. Now that other automakers' vehicles charge on Tesla's network, Tesla earns revenue every time a Ford, GM, or Hyundai customer plugs in at a supercharger. The network that Tesla built as a cost center to sell its own cars has become a revenue-generating platform that its competitors pay to use. That is world-class strategic thinking. Step 4 of the First Principles Disruption Playbook. Scale through suffering. And this is the Model 3 chapter, and it is the most dramatic chapter of the entire Tesla story, because this is where Tesla nearly dies. Again, first, let me set the scene. On March 31, 2016, Tesla unveils the Model 3, a compact sedan starting at $35,000. The first affordable Tesla, the car that the secret master plan had been building toward for a decade. And the world loses its mind. Within 24 hours, Tesla receives over 180,000 reservations. Each reservation requires a $1,000 deposit. Within a week, 325,000 reservations. That represents over $14 billion in potential sales, with no advertising, number endorsements, number celebrity partnerships, just a product that people want so badly they will put down $1,000 for a car they have never seen, never driven, and will not receive for over a year. Some analysts call it the single biggest one-week product launch in history, period, across any industry. But taking 325,000 orders is the easy part. Building 325,000 cars is the hard part. And this is where Tesla enters what Musk himself calls production hell. The original plan is to produce 5,000 Model 3s per week by the end of 2017. When actual production begins in July 2017, they are making about 260 per week. That is 5% of target. 5%. And the problem is automation. Musk had envisioned what he called an alien dreadnought factory, a fully robotic production line where robots did everything. No humans on the line at all. And it does not work. The robots are slower than expected. The automated systems jam. Conveyor belts break. Quality control suffers. The factory grinds to a near halt. By the end of 2017, Tesla has delivered only about 1,550 Model 3s total. They are supposed to be making 5,000 per week, and they have made 1,550 in the entire quarter. And Musk does something extraordinary. He moves into the factory. Literally, he sleeps on the factory floor. Not on a couch, on the floor. He works 120 hours a week. When CBS interviewer Gayle King asks him about it, he says, "When things get really intense, I don't have time to go home and shower and change, so I just sleep here." And later he explains why he chose the floor over a hotel across the street. "The reason I sleep on the floor was not because I couldn't go across the road and be at the hotel. It was because I wanted my circumstance to be worse than anyone else at the company. On purpose. Like whatever pain they felt, I wanted mine to be worse." That is either inspiring leadership or borderline insanity. Maybe both. By mid-2018, Tesla is bleeding cash. Musk later reveals that the company comes within single-digit weeks of bankruptcy. Again, for the second time in Tesla's history. And this time, the stakes are even higher because there are hundreds of thousands of customers who have paid deposits and are waiting for their cars. Musk finally admits that excessive automation was a mistake. And honestly, I respect this moment because very few CEOs publicly own mistakes this clearly. His exact words, "Excessive automation at Tesla was a mistake. To be precise, my mistake. Humans are underrated." Think about that. The guy who wants to colonize Mars, who is building humanoid robots, who has spent his entire career betting on machines over humans, publicly admits that in this case, humans are better. That takes real intellectual honesty. They rip out the robots that are not working, replace them with humans, and build a massive tent structure in the parking lot of the Fremont factory as an additional assembly line. A tent in the parking lot. To build cars, it sounds like a joke, but it is real, and it works. By the end of June 2018, Tesla finally hits the 5,000 per week target, reaching 5,031 Model 3s in the last week of Q2 2018. And in Q3 2018, Tesla posts a profit of $312 million. Shocking Wall Street analysts who had predicted the company would need to raise more capital, the stock jumps 12% in after-hours trading. Production hell is over. And here is the thing about the Model 3 that I think gets lost in the drama of production hell. The car itself is genuinely great. It is the best-selling electric car in the world. It wins safety awards. It has the largest touchscreen interface in any car at its price point. It has over-the-air software updates that add features after you buy the car. Your car literally gets better while it sits in your driveway overnight. No other automaker does this. GM does not push an update that makes your Chevy faster. Ford does not add new features to your F-150 while you sleep. Tesla does. And this software-first approach is another massive competitive advantage. Traditional automakers think of a car as a finished product that depreciates from the moment you drive it off the lot. Tesla thinks of a car as a software platform that can be improved indefinitely. Now, let me talk about the Gigafactory, because this is a critical piece of the puzzle that makes everything else possible. On September 4, 2014, Tesla announces that it will build a massive battery factory in Sparks, Nevada. They call it the Gigafactory. And the ambitions are staggering. Tesla plans to produce more lithium-ion batteries at this single factory by 2020 than the entire world produced in 2013. The whole world. One factory. And the reason is economics. Battery cost is the single biggest factor determining the price of an electric vehicle. In 2013, Tesla's battery pack cost was approximately $400 per kilowatt hour. At that price, building an affordable electric car is impossible. The batteries alone for a 60 kWh car would cost $24,000. So Tesla bets that economies of scale, combined with manufacturing innovation, will drive battery costs down dramatically. And they are right. By 2016, Tesla claims costs below $190 per kilowatt half car. By 2017, with the Gigafactory ramping up, they target $124 per kilowatt half car. By 2018, independent analysis from UBS estimates Tesla's battery cell cost at $111 per kilowatt high, giving them a 20% cost advantage over LG Chem, one of the largest battery manufacturers in the world. The cost reduction from $400 to around $100 per kilowatt in roughly 5 years is one of the most important developments in clean energy technology in the last 2 decades. And it is what makes the $35,000 Model 3 possible. Without the Gigafactory, there is no affordable Tesla. Without affordable Tesla, the electric vehicle revolution stalls. J.B. Straubel deserves enormous credit here. Straubel is Tesla's co-founder and longtime chief technology officer. He joins as the 5th employee in 2004. And he is the battery genius. His name is on the majority of Tesla's patents, especially those relating to battery safety, architecture, monitoring, and power management. He leads battery cell design, manages the supply chain, and drives the Gigafactory concept from idea through the production ramp of the Model 3. Without Straubel's work on battery technology, Tesla simply does not exist. He leaves Tesla in 2019 to found Redwood Materials, a company focused on battery recycling and creating circular supply chains for the materials that go into batteries. In 2023, he rejoins Tesla's board of directors. The guy is so deeply connected to Tesla's DNA that even after leaving, he comes back. And I should mention Franz von Holzhausen again, because his contribution cannot be overstated. He has been Tesla's chief designer since 2008. He designed the Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y, the Cybertruck, the second-generation Roadster, and the Tesla Semi. Every Tesla vehicle you have ever seen was designed by Franz. His design philosophy is bold, minimalist, and aerodynamic. The Model S redefined what an electric car could look like. The Cybertruck redefined what a truck could look like, for better or worse, depending on your taste. His designs are polarizing, but they are never boring. And in an industry where every sedan looks like every other sedan, that is a massive brand advantage. Before we get to the next step, I want to mention something for founders who are building right now. AIAdsy.com is an AI-powered tool that generates viral UGC and product ad videos. You upload a reference video and it creates content designed to get 3x better conversions than what you are probably running right now. I know multiple founders who have completely overhauled their ad creative with this tool. Whether it is Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever platform you are running on, check out AIAdsy.com. 5 minutes could change your entire ad strategy. Okay, back to Tesla. Step 5 of the First Principles Disruption Playbook. Force the future to arrive on your schedule. And this is where Tesla's story becomes truly unprecedented, because Tesla is not content to just make great electric cars. They want to force the entire auto industry to go electric, and they use several strategies to do this. First, the open source patents. In June 2014, Musk announces that Tesla will not initiate patent lawsuits against anyone who in good faith wants to use their technology. He literally gives away Tesla's intellectual property. And here is what Musk says about it. The fundamental intention of Tesla, at least my motivation, was to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. That is why I open-sourced the patents. Most companies would guard their patents like Fort Knox. Tesla gives them away, because Tesla's real competition is not other electric car companies, it is the 80 million gasoline cars that roll off assembly lines every year. If other companies build electric cars using Tesla's patents, that is a win for Tesla's mission. And it is a clever competitive move too, because even if other companies use Tesla's patents, they still do not have Tesla's manufacturing expertise, software capabilities, or Supercharger network. Second, the autonomy bet. Tesla has been selling a software feature called Full Self-Driving, FSD, for years. As of early 2026, it remains a Level 2 driver assistance system, meaning the driver must pay attention and be ready to take over at all times. But Tesla's bet is that they will eventually achieve fully autonomous driving using a camera-only approach. No LiDAR, no radar, just cameras and neural networks. This is enormously controversial. Most autonomous driving companies use expensive LiDAR sensors. Tesla says you do not need them. If humans can drive using just their eyes, a computer should be able to drive using just cameras. The technology has improved dramatically. In June 2025, Tesla launched a limited robotaxi service in Austin, Texas, expanding to San Francisco in August 2025. As of December 2025, about 135 robotaxis are in service, still with human safety monitors in the passenger seat. The service has had some growing pains, with vehicles occasionally driving on the wrong side of the road or making traffic violations. But the trajectory is clear. Tesla is betting that autonomy will eventually work at scale, and if it does, every Tesla ever sold becomes a potential robotaxi, generating revenue while the owner is asleep. That would make every Tesla on the road a revenue-generating asset, not a depreciating one. It is a moonshot bet, and Musk has repeatedly overpromised on the timeline, predicting full autonomy as early as 2017. But the technology keeps improving, and if Tesla cracks it, the value creation would be staggering. Now let me take you through the financial trajectory because the numbers tell an incredible story. Tesla's annual revenue by year 2012, $413 million, 2013, $2 billion, 2014, $3.2 billion, 2015, $4 billion, 2016, $11.8 billion, 2018, $21.5 billion, 2018, $24.6 billion, 2021 to $31.5 billion, 2021, $53.8 billion, 2221, 2223, $96.8 billion, 2229.7 billion, from $439 million to nearly $98 billion in 12 years. That is a 237x increase in revenue. To put that in perspective, Toyota, the world's largest automaker by volume, took over 80 years to reach similar revenue levels. Tesla did it in 12. And they did it while being written off by Wall Street analysts, auto industry executives, and countless pundits who said it was impossible every single step of the way. And the profitability story is just as dramatic. Tesla lost money every single year from its founding through 2019, 17 consecutive years of losses. And the skeptics loved this. Every quarter, analysts would point to the losses and say, "See, Tesla is not a real car company. They cannot make money. It is all a house of cards." And then 2020 happens. Tesla posts its first full-year profit, and then 2021 is even more profitable. And 2022 is extraordinary, with net income hitting roughly $12.6 billion. In 2023, net income is about $15 billion. The company that everyone said would never make money is making more profit per car than most traditional automakers. The stock price journey is even more dramatic. Tesla goes public on June 29, 2010, at $17 per share, adjusted for stock splits. That is about 1.13. And then it climbs, slowly at first, then explosively. During 2020, Tesla's share price increases 740% in a single year. By December 2020, Tesla's market capitalization is larger than the next 9 largest automakers combined. Let me say that again. Tesla is worth more than Toyota, Volkswagen, Daimler, GM, BMW, Honda, Hyundai, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler combined. In October 2021, Tesla becomes the 6th U.S. company to reach a $1 trillion market cap. As of February 2026, Tesla's market cap is approximately $1.54 trillion. An investment of $10,000 at the IPO would now be worth nearly $3 million, from $17 per share to $397 per share, accounting for splits. That is roughly a 300-fold return, a compound annual growth rate of 52% over 15 years. There is no comparable stock market story in the history of the auto industry. Now let me talk about how the traditional automakers responded, because this is a case study in how incumbents failed to react to disruption. And honestly, the pattern is almost identical to what happened when the iPhone disrupted Nokia and BlackBerry. Denial, dismissal, then panic, then scrambling to catch up. GM is the most ironic case. They literally had an electric car, the EV1, in the late 90s. Customers loved it, and GM killed it, crushed the cars. Then they spent years dismissing Tesla. Then, in 2016, they launched the Chevrolet Bolt, a $37,000 electric car with 238 miles of range. It was a solid product, but it was a compliance car, a vehicle built to meet regulatory requirements rather than to compete aggressively. GM never marketed it seriously. They never built a charging network. And when battery pack issues caused massive recalls, they handled it poorly. Ford spent years watching from the sidelines. They finally launched the Mustang Mach-E in 2020 and the F-150 Lightning electric pickup in 2022. Both are good products, but Ford has publicly admitted losing billions on its EV division. In 2023, Ford's EV unit, called Model E, lost $4.7 billion. The company has repeatedly delayed and scaled back its electrification plans. Toyota is perhaps the most stubborn. Despite investing in Tesla early on, Toyota's leadership has consistently bet on hydrogen fuel cells rather than battery electric vehicles. Akio Toyoda, the CEO and grandson of the company's founder, has been vocally skeptical of battery electric vehicles. Toyota was late to develop competitive EVs and spent years arguing that hybrids were the real solution. By 2000, they are scrambling to catch up, investing billions in EV and battery manufacturing. Volkswagen had the most dramatic response. After the Dieselgate emissions scandal in 2015, where VW was caught cheating on diesel emissions tests, the company pivoted aggressively toward electric vehicles. CEO Herbert Diess set a goal to outsell Tesla globally by 2025. They launched the ID.3 and ID.4 electric vehicles. They committed nearly $200 billion toward EVs and digitalization. But the execution has been rocky. Software problems plagued early models. They were slow to roll out competitive EVs in China, and they have not come close to matching Tesla's margins or brand desirability. The broader pattern is clear. The traditional automakers are investing enormous sums: GM $6.6 billion, Ford $11.4 billion, Toyota $2.5 billion, Hyundai $5.5 billion in US EV and battery manufacturing alone. But they are playing catch-up, and the uncomfortable truth for them is that Tesla's lead is not just in products. It is in software, in manufacturing efficiency, in charging infrastructure, in battery technology, and in brand. Those are not things you can close with a press release and a capital expenditure budget. Now, let me talk about the current state. Because the Tesla story is not all triumph. There are real challenges. The Cybertruck, unveiled in November 2019, with that infamous moment where the unbreakable window shatters on stage, finally begins deliveries in late 2030. It is polarizing. People either love the angular stainless steel design or think it looks like a DeLorean had a baby with a doorstop. Sales in 22,000 units, making it the best-selling electric pickup in America. But in 2025, sales slow significantly, with just over 16,000 sold in the first 3 quarters. And Tesla reportedly shifts Cybertruck factory workers to Model Y production. And then there is China. And China is where Tesla's dominance is being seriously challenged. BYD, the Chinese electric vehicle maker backed by Warren Buffett, has overtaken Tesla as the world's largest manufacturer of all electric vehicles as of 2025. BYD reported annual revenue of 777 billion yen, roughly $107 billion, in 2004, surpassing Tesla's 97.7 billion. BYD's exports hit 1.05 million units in 2025, up 200% year over year. They are aggressively expanding into Europe, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, markets where Tesla has limited presence. Tesla's deliveries dropped to 1.64 million vehicles in 2025, an 8% decline from 2024, which was itself a decline from the previous year. BYD claimed 12.1% of the global battery electric vehicle market in 2005, ahead of Tesla's 8.8%. The Chinese competition is real and it is growing. But here is what I think most people miss about Tesla's competitive position. Tesla is not just a car company. It is an energy company. It is a software company. It is a charging infrastructure company. And increasingly, it is a robotics and AI company. The energy storage business, Megapack and Powerwall, contributed 15% of Tesla's gross profit in 2024, up from 6% in 2003. The Supercharger network is becoming a platform that generates revenue from competitors' vehicles. The software-defined vehicle approach means Tesla can add features and improve performance remotely, something no other automaker can match at scale. And the potential of autonomy, if Tesla cracks it, changes the entire value proposition of the company. Let me tie this all together with the First Principles Disruption Playbook, because the lessons from Tesla's journey are applicable to anyone trying to disrupt an entrenched industry. Step 1. Start at the top and work your way down. Do not try to compete with the cheapest product in the market. Start with a premium product where performance matters more than price, and where early adopters will pay a premium to be first. Use those margins to fund the technology development that eventually makes the affordable product possible. The Roadster funded the Model S. The Model S funded the Model 3. Each generation cross-subsidizes the next. This cascade strategy is Tesla's single most important strategic innovation, and it applies to far more than cars. Software companies do this all the time. Start with an expensive enterprise product, then work down to a self-serve product. The key is to recognize that market entry and market transformation are 2 different problems that require 2 different price points. Step 2. Make the establishment product look obsolete. The Model S did not just compete with the Mercedes S-Class, it made the Mercedes S-Class look outdated. Consumer Reports gave it a 99 out of 100, and then had to break their own rating system when the updated version scored 103. Motor Trend named it Car of the Year unanimously. When your product is so good that the testing systems designed to evaluate products cannot accommodate it, you have not just competed, you have redefined the category. And once the category is redefined, every competitor is playing catch-up on your terms, using your metrics. Step 3. Build the infrastructure before they know they need it. The Supercharger network is Tesla's deepest moat, 75,000 connectors worldwide, over 99% uptime, an industry standard that every other automaker has been forced to adopt. Most companies see infrastructure as someone else's problem. Tesla saw it as the most important problem, because you can build the best electric car in the world, but if there is nowhere convenient to charge it, nobody will buy it. Tesla solved the chicken and egg problem by being both the chicken and the egg. And now that infrastructure is a platform, a revenue generator, and a competitive advantage that would cost tens of billions of dollars for any competitor to replicate. Step 4. Scale through suffering. Production hell is real. The Model 3 ramp nearly killed Tesla. Musk sleeping on the factory floor. 120-hour work weeks. The company weeks away from bankruptcy. Excessive automation at Tesla was a mistake. Humans are underrated. The lesson is not that suffering is good. The lesson is that scaling manufacturing is brutally hard, and anyone who tells you otherwise has never done it. The companies that survive the scaling crisis emerge with manufacturing expertise that competitors cannot easily replicate. Sandy Munro, one of the most respected automotive engineers in the world, tore apart a Model 3 and concluded that Tesla's manufacturing innovations gave them roughly a 10-year lead over the competition. 10 years! From production hell. Step 5. Force the future to arrive on your schedule. Open source your patents. Build the charging standard that everyone else has to adopt. Bet on autonomy even when the technology is not ready. Push your competitors to go electric, even though it destroys their existing business models. Tesla's mission statement is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And whether you love or hate Elon Musk, you cannot deny that Tesla has done exactly that. The global conversation about electric vehicles, the investments by every major automaker, the government regulations pushing for zero emissions, the charging infrastructure being built around the world, all of it traces back, at least in part, to Tesla proving that electric cars could be desirable, profitable, and mass-produced. And I want to leave you with this, because I think it captures the essence of the Tesla story better than any financial metric or product specification. In 2006, when Elon Musk published that secret master plan blog post, he wrote about what he saw as the core challenge. Our true competition is not the small trickle of non-Tesla electric cars being produced, but rather the enormous flood of gasoline cars pouring out of the world's factories every day. That quote was written when Tesla had 0 cars on the road, 0 revenue, a handful of employees, and the company was competing not against other electric car makers, but against the entire global auto industry, against 100 years of infrastructure, supply chains, dealerships, gas stations, and consumer habits, against the combined might of Toyota, GM, Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, Honda, and every other automaker on the planet. And they chose to take that fight, with a sports car that was basically a Lotus with a battery pack. And they won. Not completely. Not in every market. But they won the argument. They proved that electric cars are not a compromise. They are better. And they proved that a startup founded in 2003 by 2 engineers in San Carlos, California, funded by a South African immigrant who had just sold a payments company, could take on and fundamentally transform an industry that had not changed in 100 years. From $9 million in the bank on Christmas Eve 2008 to a $1.54 trillion market cap. From 0 cars delivered to the most valuable automaker in the history of the world. From electric cars will never work to every major automaker scrambling to build them. That is the First Principles Disruption Playbook. 5 steps. Start at the top, make the old thing obsolete, build the infrastructure, scale through suffering, force the future. And it all started with a simple observation in a Palo Alto driveway. There is no car that is both fast and clean. So we will build one.